Committee to Protect Journalism is doing that report on the murder of Pavel Sheremet here in Ukraine. There are a lot of details in that, but what would be the main finding and advice?
Well, it's really an investigation into the investigation. So it's looking at this year-long attempt to find the killers of Sheremet and trying to find out why it's so complicated and why they haven't come up with any leads at the moment. So that's the job of the CPJ, is to apply pressure and scrutiny so that when journalists get into trouble or are killed, there's an international organization that is impartial and can ask sometimes awkward questions about why there is apparent impunity in countries and it's very easy to murder journalists.
So what would be the advice in that particular case? Because you are coming to some conclusion, not of the investigation of the murder itself, but of the situation.
Well, obviously none of us knows why Sheremet was murdered. But I think I've been very struck in the last couple of days. I've met the police, I've met the SBU, I've met the president, I've met the prosecutor general, and we keep being told that the best cops are on the case, they've got unlimited resources, that they've got enormous files full of material, they've interviewed 3,000 witnesses and so on and so on. And yet that film that came out, Killing Pavel, came up with really quite significant evidence that the police had missed. And so it makes you question how good this investigation really is and how determined they are to get at the truth.
So what could you see as the representative of the organization, that what could be further after your talks, after your meetings? What else could be done in that?
The danger, I think, with the investigation is that, of course, there are a number of possible motives. But one of the possible motives is political, that Pavel Sheremet was a very well-known journalist, and maybe there is something that he has written or people that he's upset who wanted to silence him. And the accusation is that by having the police and the SBU investigating, they're in a sense marking their own homework. They're looking into themselves. And so how could you reassure the public and, importantly, the family that this is not the case, that there are external eyes on this investigation that will make sure that it is honest and rigorous and is going to come up with the answers? There was
as for me, a bit awkward discussion here about the way that the journalists led the investigation. We're speaking about the Killing Pavel movie. And there was some criticism that they could have provided the police with the evidence they have rather than the do investigation on what police hadn't done. What is your view on that?
Well, I think it's fairly easy, really. These are journalists. They were skeptical about the police investigation. In a sense, the film was about the gaps in the police investigation, and you can see from that film that they had quite a degree of skepticism about whether the police were really doing the job. So I think it was perfectly justified for them to make their own investigation and hand over the material at the end. That's what journalism is. Journalism has to be independent of everybody else.